Morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee Chat. Wow. Well, hey, guys, my neighbor is still building his pool over here, so you might hear a lot of rumbling and bumbling, and hopefully our audio doesn't suffer too much because of it. Anyway, well, guys, the world is just getting crazier and crazier as we go along. We've just got this big article come out here where the UN is literally begging central banks to cease raising interest rates. And of course, they're doing that because they're seeing, all these impacts and these liquidity crises with all the central banks and all these various economies across Europe and North America. So what you're going to more than likely see is you're going to see the central banks put the brakes on these interest rate hikes. But at the same time, guys, what's going to end up happening is you're going to see the introduction of capital controls. Because look, they've only got three prongs to this thing. They've got independent monetary policy for all these countries, of course. They've got their overnight rates that they can play around with. And then, of course, they have the flow of capital. And that's, your monetary controls. And you are going to start to see, in my view, capital controls. So what are capital controls? Capital controls involve how much money you can actually spend, sometimes even take out of your bank, and money that can flow cross borders, how it can be spent, and it is going to come headlong, fast. Now, the reason for that, guys, is they have got runaway inflation that there is no way of stopping. And you are seeing across the world a devaluation of currencies like nothing else. And with rising interest rates the way they were, you are creating a liquidity crisis like crazy. And of course, the debt market was the big indicator there. That's your litmus test. You are seeing the 10-year yield just starting to fly off there. And of course, they would come in, the central banks, and buy up all that debt to bring that down and try to stem the tide. But it's really not helping. So the next thing here is going to be a slowdown in the rising of interest rates, but introduction of these capital controls. Now, having said that, guys, I was reading an article where this woman named Liz Truss, comes on, and I'm not sure if she's with the WEF. She was an attendee at a WEF conference, but basically comes out and says, hey, the British economy needs a reset. Surprise, surprise. And what do you think that they're doing with all of these various monetary policies? They're driving this engine straight into that reset tunnel, and they want to come out the other side just with everything totally in place. So that's why I genuinely believe that by mid-2023, you're going to see a majority of Europe onboarded into their central bank digital currencies. Now, guys, having said that, I want to make a distinction here between CBDCs and you holding digital assets. Central bank digital currencies, as many of us know, are programmable money. So they can actually put their monetary controls and policies right into the currency as it's issued. So, for instance, let's say they want to do a pullback. And, they might give you an expiration date as to when you could possibly spend that money. You either spend it by this date or it expires kind of thing to motivate you to go out and spend if there's a slowdown in the economy and whatever. And they can do all kinds of other things like that. Now, I know that seems almost ridiculous, but the thing is this, guys, imagine you're trying to save money. And you don't have a fiat system to save it. You're using your central bank digital currencies. They say, well, hey, you got to get out there and spend 20% of your savings within the next 6 months. Otherwise, it's going to be reduced by the fact that we're going to be introducing this reduction in the capital that's out there and available. And that can truly happen. So why is that such a big deal? Well, guys, the big deal about that is this. You'll never be able to build generational wealth again the way that you have in the past, because these monetary policies that are going to come in are going to be something like we have never, ever seen in the history of mankind. It is going to be just crazy. And what these central banks and these governments plan is for total control. That is ultimately what they want. And they make us slaves to the system. Now, will that happen in every country? It's hard to say right now. I think there'll be certain monetary policies in every country of the world, to be sure, that will certainly involve some programmability of the CBDCs. Now, will it be as restrictive as in totalitarian states? Probably not, but it's going to have some impacts. Don't doubt it. So, digital assets, on the other hand, are probably one of our last opportunities where we're going to truly be able to invest and see generational wealth. Why? Guys, when they fully bring in CBDCs, we're probably going to be controlled about how we can utilize it and invest in it. Right now, you can take your fiat currency and you can invest it into digital assets, which are going to be the backbone of this new digital infrastructure with monetary transfers, with cross-border payments, that type of thing. Of course, with like the data, our healthcare, on and on and on, lots of that type of stuff. And so these digital assets are going to be the backbone of that. But how available do you think it's going to be for a lot of folks to get into this space after the whole infrastructure is now in place and the engine has been turned on? I don't think it's going to be so simple like it is now. And guys, on top of that, you have to remember this. This whole WEF and this central bank agenda is to literally put themselves in a position where we literally lease everything from them, a planned obsolescence type of system, whereby they absolutely control everything and you have very limited control. Now they're coming out and saying, yeah, but we're going to be very benevolent in the way that we do this. Well, sorry guys, I don't trust that because human nature is involved in that. And you're going to see that this whole you own nothing by 2030 and be happy kind of situation, they will literally come out and tell you that that is their planned agenda. They have absolutely no shame about it. It is about total monetary control over the entire world. So when you think about that, how much of an opportunity are folks really going to have to build generational wealth after that? I don't think it's going to be like it is today. There may be some opportunities, yes, but will they be as prevalent as they are now? I really don't believe so. We are moving into a totally different type of economy where they want to have this socialized equalization literally across the board, bring in these carbon credits, attach those to your CBDCs, whereby, if you take too many plane trips or you take too many vacations or whatever, well, your carbon footprint is too great. And what can they do? They can pull back on the utilization of your CBDCs where you can't spend it on another vacation or this or that. And as ridiculous as that sounds, guys, that is exactly what they're saying in their publications. You go to the WEF, you go to the IMF, you start reading some of these documents that they're putting out there, and you'll see that is exactly the kind of society that they're talking about building. So for me, digital assets represent a way to preserve your independence, to preserve your opportunity for generational wealth down the road, because with central bank digital currencies, I don't think the opportunities are going to be there like they have been in the past. Now, that is my opinion on that one, at least. Now, another thing that I read, having said that, is in Germany right now, people are panic buying electric heaters due to the fact that they are going to face one of the coldest winters on record without any supply of natural gas to heat their homes. A reduction in this natural gas, it is going to be bad, and people are going to seriously hurt. So please, if you're in those areas of the world, do what you can now while you can. Store up on things that, your non-perishables, get foods, get things like that, because it is really going to have a massive impact. And do what you can, it's just unfortunate these governments, these politicians literally sold this country down the river, as far as I'm concerned, because of their dependence on an adversary's power and resources for their citizens. It just defies all kinds of logic and common sense. It is unbelievable. So guys, It is going to be something else. Now, by the way, you're seeing the markets react right now to even this little bit of news. Look at what's going on in the markets today. They have just popped up like crazy. Why? Because they know what's coming down the road here. And they understand that, look, when these central banks freeze interest rates like this and they start going back into this mode, quantitative easing is right around the corner. They're going to pummel in. This is going to be our opportunity. After this next big run up, guys, I'm telling you, in my view, it's going to be the greatest crash that any of these markets have ever faced in the history of all of our trading whatsoever. It's going to be something else. So you got to do what you can to prepare. That is, at least in my view, whether that means, having a little extra food around, having a little bit of cash, on the side, if, they have some sort of a, lockup before they do the reset and before they bring in the CBDCs. It's kind of like in these twilight zones, the beginning and the end of things, that you really have to be, extremely diligent and careful, because that's when the most crisis comes. And so I encourage you guys, go out and just prepare a little bit. Hey, we all have car insurance. We don't want to use it, but thank God we have it. And so that's the kind of way I look at it, is this is just an insurance for yourself should the whole fit hit the shan kind of situation, which appears like they're pushing every possible envelope and button so that it does. I mean, if you can't see that this is an orchestrated collapse, it is just, it's almost like you can literally see the A plus B plus C times D kind of thing. They're doing it, and it's almost with strategic precision and funneling out this narrative to, the rank and file and to all the public. Oh, we're doing the very best we can. Come on, you're not doing you're doing exactly what you plan to do. The plan of your Great Reset. Look, I even have a clip of my Prime Minister in Canada, Justin Trudeau, literally coming out there and say, hey, because of this pandemic and blah, 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 we can actually utilize that to get back on our agenda of what we had planned for our Great Reset for the world before it ever happened.
Pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset. This is our chance to accelerate our pre-pandemic efforts to reimagine economic systems that actually address global challenges.
It is absolutely insane. Anyhow, guys, I'm getting a little bit of ranty there, but look, I've got a great video coming out for you later on this afternoon. Until then, truly hope you have a great day, and really appreciate y'all, and you take care, and we'll see you later.